Hello guys, this is DJ, welcome to my channel. I wanted to give my non-biased list of the top 15 basketball YouTubers in the community. Now I want to be very clear that this list is going to be basketball YouTubers, not hoopers that do YouTube. I think the biggest problem with the list going around is that they're not specific on the people that are going to be ranked in the list. What I mean by that is that guys like the Professor, Bone Collector, B-Dot, and Devin in the Lab will not be on this list. This is because these guys are basketball players first and content creation comes second to them. My list will only include people that are strictly YouTubers that have a passion for basketball and are active in the community. Also, I am not judging these guys only on 1v1s like other lists out there. I think real hoopers know that there is much more to basketball than being able to beat someone one-on-one. Now that we got that out of the way, let's get into our honorable mention. Number 16. Flight Reacts. Okay, now I think we all know that Flight has no business being on anybody's top hooper list. However, I had to put him in the video because he's so active in the community. Let's be honest, Flight is absolutely terrible. He would get smoked by most people that have been on any high school basketball team. That being said, he is probably the most entertaining person to watch on this list and he's killing it in the YouTube basketball scene. Never gonna knock the hustle. Number 15, 50 Cal Mal. Mal is one of the close friends of Cash Nasty and 2Hype, and he's a legit hooper. Mal's a smooth lefty with a well-balanced offensive game. His mid-range jumper is where he gets most of his buckets, and he has a way of lulling his defenders to sleep with the size up before rising up and hitting his shot. The reason that Mal is the lowest on the list is because of two things. First is that he has really bad court vision and hogs the ball most of the time. This is okay because he's a really solid scorer, but not good enough to have that missing from his game. The other reason is because without having someone to feed him the ball like Cash in their 2v2s, I think he would become a lot less effective since he would have to settle for catch and shoot jump shots unless he had room to use his size up game. Number 14, Cash Nasty. Cash is a dog, and I think that's why he's really underrated as a basketball player. Most of the basketball YouTubers care more about entertainment than actually playing competitively, since that's the nature of their business. Cash is different though. He's very entertaining, but he wants to win over everything. This results in him being one of the best defenders on the platform. He's a strong guy, and he knows it. He always uses his body to his advantage, and that allows him to be a very solid rebounder and get some tough buckets inside. The reason he's low on this list is because his offensive game is pretty terrible apart from offensive rebounding and strong takes in the paint, but only if he's set up correctly. That being said, Cash is a great teammate to have in game because he's going to be an enforcer and do a lot of the dirty work that the guys on this list are not going to do. Number 13, Jesser. Jesser is a hard one to rank because I think he has a lot of potential to be a top 10 basketball YouTuber, but let's start with why he's effective. Jesser is tall, long, and he uses it to his advantage. His three-point shot is nothing to laugh at, and he hits it pretty consistently. He has one of the best mid to low post games on this list and can score on almost anybody down there that's undersized. Jesser comes in at number 13 because he falls into the trap of never taking things seriously. I've never seen Jesser play with any fire on the court. That is something not everyone has, and I think a lot of hoopers will agree that a guy that has the dog in him is going to win most of the time against someone who doesn't. I do think that Jesser is a solid ball player and should be respected by everyone on this list, but I do think that if he actually took basketball seriously, he'd be a problem. Number 12, Kenny. This guy surprised me a lot when he first started showing up in videos. I could tell from his first couple of highlights that this guy was no joke. You can tell when somebody really knows how to play the game. This is why Kenny comes in at number 12 for me. Obviously he's a sharpshooter, but that's not why he's higher than other guys on my list. Kenny is the first guy coming onto the list with real basketball IQ. I'm not familiar with his past, but to me it's easy to see that he's been hooping for a while. This is something I think is unbelievably underrated when you're talking about the best basketball YouTubers. Kenny would be a delight for anybody to have on their team because he's a legitimate point guard that can set you up in places to score, as well as being able to hit threes when you need him to. Number 11, Zach TTG. To my knowledge, this is the first guy on the list that actually had a basketball scholarship. Zach was supposed to play college ball until a hand injury prevented him from playing, and it's easy to tell when you watch him play. Zach is a guy that takes pride in his game, and when he's playing for real, you can tell the guy is talented. He plays a combo guard role, and he can handle the ball really well, but is also a solid scoring option. Zach is a guy that has great basketball IQ and doesn't take a lot of bad shots. He's a good athlete, runs the court well, and he's able to finish close to the rim to avoid shot blockers. Main reason he doesn't sneak into the top 10 is because I don't feel he plays very much unless the camera is rolling, and I think he'd be higher on the list if he did. Number 10, T-Jazz. Coming in at our first spot in the top 10 is the crazy layup guy. No, but all jokes aside, T-Jazz is a very skilled hooper. You can tell that he is a guy that's in the gym playing more than most on the list. His handle might very well be the best on the entire list, and that allows him to torch a lot of his defenders. He's a crafty finisher around the rim and still manages to score quite well even though he's undersized. He uses his speed and passing ability to be a lethal fast break starter and can stop and pop for 3-point baskets. T-Jazz is the first in the top 10 because he's more skilled than the other guys before him on the list. The reason he's not higher is because his skill set favors a James Harden type of style where he needs the ball in his hands and space to work. I'm not sure he would shine as much if he had to play off the ball, and he would also have issues guarding everybody else on the list. Number 9, Duke Dennis. Duke is a baller. You can tell this guy was a problem out on the blacktop growing up. He plays that outdoor, go get me a bucket type ball, and he's quite good at it. He has the ability to dunk the ball well, and it's very hard to guard when slashing to the basket. He's also one of the best shooters on this list, and can get hot quick. When Duke is in the zone, I think anybody would have a hard time slowing him down. The reason he's not ranked higher on this list is strictly due to the fact that he doesn't have as polished of a game as others ranked higher on the list. I think this is because he hasn't played much and is now getting back into it after playing some of the other content creators. We might need to watch out though if he starts taking this basketball thing more seriously and adding some more pieces to his game. Number 8, Ty the Guy. Ty and Duke are probably the closest in ranking among anybody else on the list. I really had no idea who to put in front of the other because they both play very similar types of basketball. The simple reason I put Ty first is because he's got more highlights on YouTube and more for me to judge him off of. Ty is arguably the most bouncy guy on the list. He can really throw down. Ty also has that heat up play style where he can get hot and hit some shots that make you scratch your head. He started playing some of the other content creators recently, and it's obvious that he has a solid skill set. This guy also seems like he's working on natural talent more than anything and doesn't seem to have very good stamina or polish to his game. Just like Duke, I think if Ty got into the gym and really worked on his game, he'd be a menace in the community. Number 7, Trey Good. Now this is where things get interesting. I think everyone from here on out is on a different level as a basketball player. Trey from Kick Genius is very talented. He has proven to everybody that he is one of the best basketball players in the community, and no matter who he plays, they're going to have to work really hard to beat him. Him and his partner, Jeremy, are a dynamic duo that would give anybody on the list a run for their money. Trey is a phenomenal athlete. He uses his speed, vertical, and strength against his defenders and makes it really hard for anybody to guard him. He can also get red hot and sink a bunch of threes in a very short amount of time. Trey is a real ball player, and I think everyone on this list knows that. If he wanted to make basketball his main focus again, I think he could be a top 3 hooper in the community. Number 6, Jay Jones. The other half of the Kick Genius duo is Jeremy Jones. This guy's a killer on the court. Jay has the most deadly mid-range pull-up in the community, and he also hits threes at a good clip if you leave him open. Jay can create off the dribble or beat you out of the triple threat and makes people work really hard to stay in front of him on his way to the cup. Jeremy is just about the best teammate you can have on the list. He works very hard on defense and he cares more about winning than personal stats. That being said, if you don't key on him, he'll get his numbers no problem. Jay is higher than Trey on this list simply because I think he plays more. The only reason that Jay doesn't reach the top 5 for me is that he's a shorter guy, and I feel like other guys on this list have more of a potential to take over a game by themselves. Number 5, DC Heat. Coming in as the first guy to make it into the top 5, DC Heat. DC is the youngest guy on this list, but that doesn't stop him from being one of the deadliest hoopers in the community. DC really earned my respect when watching him play Devontae Friga, a D3 hooper that does YouTube. DC held his own and even won that game, even though Devontae is extremely talented. I don't think Devontae was going all out the whole game, but it was still impressive nonetheless. DC Heat is a tall kid with a great offensive skill set. He is a knockdown three-point shooter and can give you buckets almost anywhere else on the court. He uses his length well, making it almost impossible to block his shots when he's going to the basket. DC doesn't rank higher on my list just because he's coming right back to YouTube after a hiatus, and we haven't seen him play many other guys in the community like the guys on this list above him. Number 4, Tanner Morgan. Timo is the friend of AJ Lepre and is fairly new to YouTube. This guy was a starter on a Division I college basketball team, Northern Colorado. He is 6'9" and had a very solid college career. Timo is pretty much unguardable for most of the people on this list due to his size. However, he's not just a big body that works in the paint. Tanner has a good jump shot and he can hit the mid-range and 3 whenever he needs to. Guarding him in the paint is a tall order since he has great post game and can finish over anyone with a signature jump hook. Timo is so close to being in the top 3, but the only thing that holds him back is that he's pretty slow from what I can tell, and he only plays basketball from entertainment more than anything these days. I've never seen him go all out and play 100% in a video, so I don't know how much more he has in the tank or how he would play against other people on the list. Number 3, Marcellus Howard. Finally, we've made it to our top 3, and the first guy coming in is Marcellus Howard. This is another guy who played college basketball. He played at a Division II school, Holy Names University, and put up very solid numbers while he was there. It's hard to truly rank Marcellus because the nature of his content is comedy-based, and so it's really hard to find games where he truly showcases his talent. But I did my best to put in the clips that show how good this guy really is. His handle is super tight, and despite him being shorter, he can finish with ease amongst taller defenders. His three-point jumper is very consistent, he has no problem hitting it even while contested. He's also easily the craftiest finisher on this list around the rim. If you don't believe me that this guy's a top 3 YouTube basketball player, go ahead and look up his college highlights, and then see if you have the same opinion afterwards. Number 2, LSK. Whoa, how many of you guys just freaked out? Before I get into that, while I think this guy is very talented, I want to tell everyone why he's not number 1 on my list. It's obvious why this 6'10" monster is the most respected basketball player in the community. His play speaks for itself. He isn't even going 100% most of the time and he still kills most of his competition. His skill set is more guard-like than anything. Even though he's very tall, he can hit the 3 from anywhere inside a half court. His handle and slashing ability is elite to say the least. When this guy really gets focused and tries his hardest, it's scary. He dunks on people, scores in bunches, and makes it look like he has no business being a YouTuber and instead should be playing overseas somewhere. Apart from his injuries and the fact that he's a little softer than most people would like, you really can't say anything negative about LSK's game. So why is he not number 1? Well, number 1, AJ Lepre. Here we are, finally, at the number 1 best basketball YouTuber. AJ Lepre is also fairly new to the community due to the fact that he was still playing college basketball in 2018. He's bounced around from a couple different colleges in his career, including Division I schools like Oregon and Pepperdine. He didn't have the best college career due to injuries, but anybody who's watched this guy play knows he's not just some YouTube hooper. AJ is the best in the community for a few key reasons. His offensive game is the most complete out of anybody else on the list, and at that 6'5" frame, he's able to get a shot over anybody. This guy is an elite shot maker, and what I mean by that is that AJ doesn't even see his defender on most of the time when he takes shots. He has a very solid vertical leap, and with his height, he can dunk the ball and finish around the rim with ease. His defense is very good, as well as he can guard bigger guys and stay with the quicker guards on the perimeter. AJ still focuses on entertaining more than anything, but when he plays other guys in the community, he still wins with ease on almost every occasion. Real hoopers only need to watch a couple clips of this guy to know that he is in a league of his own when you're talking about basketball YouTubers. So there you have it. That's the list, guys. Please share this to all your favorite basketball YouTubers. I made this list hoping to see all my favorite YouTubers reacting to it while we're all stuck inside during this unfortunate pandemic. Let me know down in the comment section what would you like to see from me on this channel. This is my first video, so I'm open to anything. And if anybody wants to see me hoop so I can prove I know what I'm talking about, I'd love to do that. Thank you all. See you in the next video.